Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and fight fans around the world. It's your boy P. Welsh here with another UFC picks, previews, and predictions. We got ourselves UFC 304 from Manchester. Edwards versus Muhammad 2. Let's go. We did 5 and 6 last week. A couple good reads, a couple bad beats, a couple upsets. Yonderoba looks like an absolute killer, but we're gonna move on to the main card this week in Manchester. 5 and 6 last week. We're gonna improve, get a winning week this week. Starting off with Bukakis versus Petrino, 15 and 6 coming off a loss, 17 and 7 coming off a win. A little bit of a reach advantage, but this one should be a very close fight. Been going back and forth with trying to find an edge, looking at common opponents, looking at the experiences in the octagon, and they're both have a losing record in the promotion. They both have common wins and losses amongst their record. It's very one going back and forth. The big difference that I'm picking here is I'm picking Bukakis because of the age. I got 30 versus 36. I just think the output will be there at the end of the day. They've both been known to lose. They've both been known to win. They have a little bit better form over time for Bukakis, his last fight being the loss, but, take that out of the consideration. He has been on a little bit of a better run. He fought a lot better fighters when he was way young. Jimmy Crute, Khalil Roundtree, Ulshanik. Like, he fought guys that are, still fighting, and, he took his lumps, but I think he's recovered from them. I expect Bukakis here to get a nice, clean victory. It's where I'm leaning. I don't think the UFC, this might not be the right order. The website's kind of all jacked up, as it always is when we're breaking down these videos, but that being said, taking Bukakis here, not going to keep it short and simple. Not too much. Hopefully we see a KO. I don't think this fight goes the distance. They don't really have a track record of too many decisions, both of these guys. Somebody's either going to sleep or getting slept, submission, TKO, but I definitely see this one not going the distance. Is it the first fight of the night? I don't think so, but that being said, we should see somebody sleep, no judges needed, and this one is another one that I really like, but I'm taking Bukakis here. Probably just the ref stops it because he's beating him up too bad. Let's go! Light heavyweight bout. Boom. Next, we're going to the women's strawweight division. We got Shauna Bannon versus not Oliveira. We got, her name is Alice Ardeline. 9 and 5, 5'3". First fight in the promotion. And I really like Bannon here. I think actually Alice is a live dog to come in here and get a big upset. She has knockout potential. She has finishing experience and wins and losses. But I also think she could get pieced up here and controlled over the rounds. I think sometimes stepping into that octagon the first time can have a big up or down, regulation in the competition. For instance, I think Bannon here struggled in her first one against Bruno Brazil. I think she'll recover with the experience coming on home turf and going to put on a nice performance. I think she gets a nice decision win there. I think Alice she's not going to just scrap and roll over. She has been finished a couple times, but, it's more likely that she's going to just lose at the judge's decision. Judges don't judge finishes, but I don't think we're getting the finish here. I think both these ladies might be a little nervous. It'll be a very even, closely contested fight. This one might be opening up the card. That being said, I'm going to lean Bannon here, the favorite. To get the job done. Let's see what Alice has in her first fight in the UFC. I don't understand why they can't update their website so we have the actual person here. But, yeah, we're moving on there. We got Bannon. And next, we're going to get into another beautiful graphic from the UFC. We got Sam Patterson versus Kiefer Crosby. Patterson 11-2 in a draw. Crosby 10-4. Man. Let's see. We got Patterson coming off a win. Crosby coming off a loss. Patterson did lose his first fight in the UFC. He got brutally knocked out in the first minute or two. Maybe he was nervous. He did come back very strong on the second one. And our guy Crosby here, I was trying to find some way to get on the Crosby train, but he just looks like he might just not have what it takes. Like, he hasn't fought a high level of competition throughout his entire career. Now he's coming in against Patterson, who's got a clear metrics advantage, a clear, youth speed advantage. The length is going to be crazy, and I think Patterson puts back-to-back good performances on on his resume, and we start talking about him being an absolute matchup nightmare at welterweight, 6'4". Um, I worry about the heavy hands that some of these guys can bring at this weight class for Patterson, who clearly had a weak chin if he got touched one time. But that being said, I mean, I could see him getting knocked out again. Kiefer does have 5 KO wins on his resume. Could go to the decision. I could definitely see that as well. The guys both have experience. I mean, Patterson hasn't been there yet, but this might be the first time they really test it. He'll have the length. He'll have the bigger octagon. He'll be able to maybe dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge, and try and move a little bit more and not get caught. And I mean, I like Patterson here. I'm not going to go against somebody like Crosby, who I haven't seen fight and hasn't proven something to me personally. Patterson, I picked him to lose the last fight and he knocked the guy out, but that guy was no competition. This guy, Bellator wins on his record. No finishes in Bellator, so that's maybe something that we can't see from Crosby, but I'm going to take Patterson here. I think maybe even goes to the scorecard late, maybe club and sub if he does a lot of damage. I sound maybe kind of silly to myself saying something like that, but we never really know in the fight game, so just trying to speak through all the possibilities is something that could, just interest you or spark how you can see a fight going. It probably doesn't go that way, but you never know. Something with the length could always pose a problem. We saw with the pick, I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, Christian Rodriguez versus Arosa. The length, if you get caught in a bad position and you're a shorter man, you can easily get tapped. The leverage, and you can't escape it. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's always a possibility. I don't think Patterson's that kind of fighter. I think he's a pure striker, knockout artist. I don't think he really wants to try and grapple, but I mean, I could see him if the guy's covering up his back and he's in top mount and he just drops and get a real naked choke like it's nothing. He does have 6 sub wins on his record, so I know they're all younger, but just never, a Gilly could always be in play. But we're going to move on there. I got Sam Patterson. I think it's going to be high. My prediction for these is UK early, heavy, opponents big time late. So that being said, we got Patterson, and then we're moving on to Christian Leroy Duncan versus Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez. And oh boy, oh really boy, is this a matchup that we as fight fans I'm in love with. I don't know about you guys, but this might be one of my favorite fights on the entire card. Leroy Duncan versus RoboCop. What do you want to say, man? Carnage is about to be had. And I think Duncan is going to just piece up my guy RoboCop. As he's being one of my favorite fighters in the promotion, the way he just lays it on the line all the time. But Duncan just seems so clean with it, man. He just seems like he's going to be able to control the distance. His only loss is to Petrosyan, which is like, did he have a bad fight or good fight? Petrosyan maybe just experienced him on a UFC fight night, per se. It was a smaller octagon, but let's get my guy on the big stage. I think Chris Leroy Duncans does pretty good work of RoboCop. I think he has some potential to take him down and do damage, but I think Duncan is going to be so big and strong that RoboCop's going to have a tough time bringing him down. They both lost to Petrosyan via decision, so that's interesting to think about. RoboCop has been countered. He also has major comeback wins. So, wow, what a career. I mean, so many fun fights from RoboCop, and this one should be one of mine. But the official pick is Christian Leroy Duncan. I think he's actually one of the middleweights dark horses to break into the rankings and look really good against a lot of guys. He kind of just reminds me of the way he walks forward like DDP, the way he just does damage, and it doesn't matter what the other guy does, and I think that's what's going to happen. Like, RoboCop can do damage, but I think Duncan's got the technique, he's got the capability. I've seen RoboCop be a little sloppy in fights, and I haven't seen that from Duncan, so I'm going to, 8 KO wins. I can see him making it 9, and nothing against my guy Gregory Rodriguez, but this is a titanic clash, and I can't wait to see it. I can't wait. RoboCop coming down from, light heavyweight to middleweight a few fights ago, but look at the metrics. 4 inches on the reach, and I think that's where we're going to see him touch him up from the outside. RoboCop might try and get in there and come in there, close the distance, do some damage, show some funky stuff, but I just think the technical ability of Duncan and everything else that he brings to the table is what's going to be the separation. And what I think is if Rodriguez was gatekeeper or somebody that's holding the division back, then I could see him maybe upsetting Duncan. But I think they're both the same level prospects, as in somebody that's ascension for the rankings and they want to make a name in the division. And I got Duncan here. We're not going to talk about it any longer. Duncan. Dunk on him. Boom. All right, and we got the welterweight here. Oban Elliott versus Preston Parsons. 11-2, coming off a win in his debut against Val Woodburn. Preston Parsons 11-4, coming off a win. Another one that we're going back and forth kind of a bit. Parsons, I don't think has ever really been challenged. Elliott, I don't think has ever truly been challenged in the octagon, and I think this is where Preston Parsons is going to shine here. This line is going back and forth for me. One thing I will say is this is a matchup. I think Oban Elliott's going to try and box, control the distance, and Parson is going to be able to try and get the submission. He's a one-trick pony, nine sub wins, 2 decision wins. He hasn't finished anybody in the UFC, but I think he'll be able to control the fight well enough against somebody inexperienced like Elliott. I just think, it's always the going back and forth. It's the pressure of striking versus the pressure of wrestling. And I think in this case, Parsons is a better wrestler than Elliott is a better striker at this point in their career. Elliott's still a little young, 26, not big competition. Could just be shocked by somebody that he hasn't seen with a motor, and if he hasn't trained in that same capacity, like, for instance, like Val Woodburn is nothing in comparison to Parsons in terms of the skill developed inside the octagon as a mixed martial artist. I got Parsons here. I like Elliott as a fighter. He showed me a lot, but he did also scare me at times in that Woodburn fight. And again, I have like zero confidence in Woodburn being, there's somebody that they gave him a contract coming off the street to fight, Bo Nickel. So they're trying to give him a chance to face against real competition, and he did okay last time. He definitely still got pieced up and lost handily. Oban was a really big favorite that night, minus like 270, but he's an underdog here, and I think for good reasons, because I think Parsons is just going to control the fight, grapple, takedown, and by the time, like, you see, if he can't get up, if he gets taken down and these guys can't get up, right, you have to make sure these guys have elite takedown defense, and not only that, the guys to get up. One of the bad picks that I saw was Freems Petrosky from the other week, because I underestimated his zero desire to get up off his back. My man got taken down 3 times and just laid there for 15 minutes. It's just like, yo, dude, you have any desire and heart to get there? And I'm not saying Elliott is going to be in that same category, because freaking Freemed is a way more losses on the record, and you could just see he freaking looked like he had no heart or guts in that fight. Like, he literally wasn't even trying to get up. So that thing can happen over time where the guy gets taken down and he literally just can't get off his back. How many times have we seen that, especially at like lower level fights where the guy gets taken down and you're just like, dude, they don't look desperate to get up, right? They're not scrambling. Like, you watch some guys last week, Trey Ogden literally pushes the guy off with his legs in top mount. Like, there's guys that just know how to get out from bottom position, and there's guys that just sit there. Is Elliott one of those? We're about to find out this weekend. But in that case, I'm picking Parsons because I'm not losing to another like these lower levels. Those wrestlers can really just dominate. If the guy can't do anything, if he's not experienced enough, if he hasn't trained the hours, then that's what it's going to be. Let's go. I mean, I got Parsons here. Elliott can make me look like a fool, but it wouldn't be the first time and not going to be the last time. So just checking some of his old wins and seeing what they have on the record, and it's nothing that they're mostly amateurs. I got Parsons here. Parsons experience, motor, engine. Let's go. Moving on into the heavyweight division, we got Mick Parkin versus Lucas Brisky, 9-0 versus 9-4. And oh boy, oh really boy, can the heavyweights step up and knock somebody out, because I cannot do another Usman Thomas Peterson fight. Holy crap, guys, what do you got for us this week? I got Mick Parkin here. I'm hoping for the best. I'm also definitely not picking Brisky. Had 3 losses out of 4, 1 no contest. The whole world is on Parkin. I think he starts off the night in England with a nice KO win, putting out the record, putting out a KO, putting out a finish for somebody. I mean, also, he's only 1-3. Excuse me. Brisky is 1-3 in his last 4 losses to Cortez Acosta, Boudet, and Carl Williams. His only win versus Walter Walger. And I mean, I was rooting for for Walter there, and I watched it, and he did do damage, but man, Walter literally didn't even strike with him, so I can't even count that as a win. Like, my guy was just trying to take him down, did pretty good at taking him down, but the judges just favored the significant strikes and the damage that he did because Walker did 0. Parkin here all day. I think Parkin gets the finish. Let's get some excitement. I think they're actually leading off the card with this one as I see on the other website. So if not, it'll be the number 2 fight. Maybe they flop the women around. We'll get the announcement from Dana, sometime this week. But I got Parkin here. Let's keep it pretty simple. What's the odds on that, too? Actually, because I need to just take a quick peek as I'm looking in real life. Yeah, minus 278 for Parkin. Very nice, yeah. Don't overthink it. Parkin by KO. I mean, maybe in the first round we can get spicy. Sometimes it might take the round 2, but maybe sprinkle half on each. I don't know. Let's go. Moving on to the next round. We got Kolan Longren versus not Roman Tavares. It's our guy Jake Hadley. Short appearance coming up from flyweight to bantamweight. And boy, oh boy. Bro, is this even a real fight? I mean, I don't know if I want to take too much time to do this. So we're going to start with Hadley here. 2 unanimous losses back to back. Beat Malcolm Gordon, which Gordon just... I don't know. That I got Longren here. Longren looks like he hits like a tank. Hadley doesn't look like he's that super strong guy in the division. I think Longren wins here, and I think he puts himself in position for the ever dangerous bantamweight division. Man, it's not like he's faced the biggest competition, but that one fight that we had, it looked really good. He did lose his first fight into the UFC, but that was against Lapalus, who we did pick to win, but he's kind of a certified cage fighter. I mean, he's in there, and he's just going to go sit there and run for 15 minutes. I think that fight taught Longren a lot about urgency, and I think he's going to be very urgent in this fight. I wouldn't be surprised if Hadley gets finished. Longren, I think, hits like an absolute brick house. And I think we see something kind of dirty here. He's fighting a guy that's a weight class below him, let's be honest. And for minus 198, I think this guy is probably one of the best locks on the card. He's a parlay piece you can match with anybody else that's a good favorite that you like. And I think the two of them combined will do very well. I like Longren here over Hadley. I was a fan of Hadley, but his last 2 performances, he literally just got beat up. Unfortunately, Johnson is solid for flyweight, and Durden, I mean, we just saw Durden win and then lose at the same time. So that being said, I can't really pick Hadley here. I'm going Longren, and I think this is nice, man. This one's nice. I like him a lot. If we lose on this one, I'm going to be laughing to the bank next week, but my guy Cole Longren, let's get a dub here. Put it on the board. Yes. Next up, we got Meatball Molly McCann, 14-6 coming off a win versus Bruna Brazil, 9-4 coming off a loss. And I mean, this one, you can go back and forth. I think the advantage is with Molly McCann. I think her competition over time has looked better. I think she has to finish Brazil. Bruna. I don't know, my accent not very good. Man, I want Meatball Molly to win. I feel like, okay, if we look, she made a mistake against Starolenko and got finished, but she was in a better position. Blanchfield, everybody's going to get blanched by Blanched. Can she do something different? I think she will try and grapple Bruna. I think she will try and take down. She'll try and strike early, strike often. I think she'll sit there, but I also think she'll find the time to get taken down. I think Brazil, that's how she lost to Lookboomy. I think she was unanimous decision. I think it was a very close decision, and excuse me, not a close decision, but it was a contested fight. It was unanimous for Lookboomy, and I think that's because she took control of the ground. They were equal in the striking, but she couldn't do anything, and that's where I think Molly has the experience. And that's where I think she'll end up winning the fight, is somewhere on the ground. Probably ground and pound is where I can see it going. Just because I just don't think Bruna has maybe that toughness and that grit that Molly, she's been made look the fool after she was high and flying. So I just don't see what's going to happen from from Brazil to win, from Bruna. But McCann, we know she can get it done. Is she going to look good? Maybe not, but is she going to find a way to come back and win? Maybe. Probably. But I got Meatball Molly here. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. I'm not going to pick Bruna Brazil off of one win over Shauna Bannon. I'm going to take the experience and the octagon time, the sheer desperation that Molly McCann needs to have on. She's on the card with Patty. She's at home in Manchester, England. Like, I'm not picking against her against somebody like this. If it was a better competition, very likely, right? Can she lose? Absolutely. Hopefully she doesn't feel the pressure and make a mistake. I think that's her biggest weakness. Somebody I think she knows she's old. She feels the pressure, and somebody against Brazil who's very young could be the difference. I kind of want to go back and forth and pick Bruna Brazil here, but I'm going to stick with Molly the Meatball. Will I bet Bruna? Maybe. But let's just pick Molly here. I just think we'll go to the decision from the judges. Give it to Molly. Might not look pretty. People could say she lost, but in the official pick, she's going to check the dub, split decision. Bang. Let's move it on. Nate Woods versus Daniel Pineda, 20-6 coming off a loss versus 28-15-3, no contest coming off a loss, and big underdog, big favorite for Wood here. And I mean, they say Nate Woods got this all day. So his last loss was to Niamov, who got slumped the other week, so not looking pretty good there. Beat Feely, beat Jourdain. Got some good wins on his resume, and I think that's where we're going to lean towards. We really have no confidence in... The confidence meter in Pineda is just... It's not there for me. Like, I can't go in there picking a 38-year-old against a highly guy called the Prospect. Losses to Caceres and Cub Swanson. A bunch of no contests. Draws in grappling matches. Like, I got Nate Wood here. Let's not even overcomplicate it. Maybe he finishes them, maybe he doesn't, but we're just taking Nate Wood here. Moving on into some exciting fights, and I don't know if it starts here, but this is where I think the tide starts to turn for the people not from England, the UK. Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikzik. 19-3 versus 15-3. Both guys coming off wins, Both guys highly touted prospects. Big height advantage for Giga, which I wasn't really expecting off the start in the flyweight division. But I think Arnold might have an advantage on the ground and grapple game. I mean, everybody's on Allen. I want to be on Allen, but I actually think Giga has a chance to really pull a big upset here. His last two losses are to Evolev and Holloway, and I'm not going to count him for 3 in a row. Gigi has a great chance, but he also has not... I don't want to say he's not shown up, man, because that's like not the right way to describe some of these fighters. But is he going to rise to the occasion, right? Allen knows exactly what he has. He's pissed off at the fight time. Maybe he ends it early. I'm picking Allen here. I'm not going against Arnold Allen at home. But this is the first one where I was like, I want to pick Giga because of the advantage, because of what I think he can bring to the table. But I also just can't see Allen losing 3 in a row, and he's already pissed off at home. Like, I'm sorry. Now, does this get finished? I don't think so. This one's got decision written all over it, and this is where I think the fights start to change in terms of excitement into competition in a way. I think these guys go back and forth for 3 rounds. You could see back and forth, but I think Allen's going to get the clear advantage. That experience against those last 2 opponents, I think, is going to make the world of difference in Allen and is moving forward in the featherweight division. And I think he's going to go for another top-notch competitor after this. A lot of people like Giga. A lot of people on the Giga train, and maybe he maybe he does it. He's a little bit older than Allen, and I just think Allen coming off those losses just doesn't put another one in. He's too talented, right? Like, I just think he gets the job done. Let's see it. This one should be spicy, though. Moving on. The flyweight bout, Muhammad Mokaev, 12-0, coming off a win versus Manel Kape, 19-6, coming off a win. And boy, oh boy, man, I feel like I got the same cliches in my mouth right now. Where do we say about this one? Clash of styles. Kape coming in there trying to force the boxing and fight. And we saw Mokaev really struggled with that last time against Perez. Perez really gave him a tough time. But that being said, like, Mokaev is a winner. He just wins. He beats everybody. And I think that's what happens again. I think we're actually getting great value at Makayev at minus 145. Like, I don't think the judges want to give it to Kape. I don't think unless Kape wins and looks actually impressive, will he actually win? I can't pick Kape when he has 8 canceled bouts in the last like 2 years. I don't know mentally where he's at. Like, he could come in there weighing 130 this week and we might not even have a fight, right? So I don't know what's going to happen. I like Makayev here. I think he rebounds a little bit. I think maybe he's been training a little bit, hopefully, on his striking. That these guys have stepped up over their time in the flyweights. They're just like, you can't just grapple because these guys are throwing hands now. Guys like Erkseg, Pantoja, like these guys up there, Perez, like they're throwing hands now. So you got to be able to throw hands. This is in my opinion, a career make or break fight for Makayev. Either his style, we're going to realize he's that dominant wrestler and grappler, or if he can't deal with the striking, he might be short-lived as a prospect. But I think he gets in there. He's got a point to prove that he's not even didn't have the last title fight. He's not getting the next title fight. They got Tatsu Taira scheduled in there to fight Pantoja sometime, I want to say. That's what the rumors is that I've heard. But I got Makayev putting himself in the number 1 contender spot after Taira. Pantoja, Taira, I don't know what happens there, but I can definitely see Makayev beating Taira if Pantoja just doesn't stay sharp as champ. He's looked very beatable in those 5-round fights, but I'm telling you, those 5-round fights are where Pantoja lives. He feasts in those. It's this bread and butter, man. He doesn't want to have to finish you. He wants to actually just smash and grab and grapple. So I know I got sidetracked here, but let's go Makayev here to control the fight, win, maybe by submission, something cheeky, get a nice takedown, and Kape not have I don't know. We'll see what happens. This one's spicy. This guy Kape, anytime he's in the promotion on the ticket, he's gonna say some stupid stuff. He's gonna ruffle some feathers, and I think it's gonna piss off Makayev, and I think we're gonna see one of the best versions of him. He has trained out of England in his career, right? I don't want to make an excuse of where you fight, but that's where he was stationed coming over from, where he's born from. He's still 23 years old. I think he's going to get this one done. I think Pat Perez was on a run, and I think his run's over now, and Makayev versus Taira, if he beats Pantoja, or he can fight Pantoja. So, he was born, Makayev all day. He's basically at home in the UK, born in Dagestan, but went to, formative years in England. I think he makes a nice finish here. Let's go, Makayev. Next up, we got King Bobby Green versus Patty the Batty Pemblett. Man, what a spicy matchup they put on for us. Wins off of both of them. The prospect Patty versus the King Bobby Green. And man, I want to pick Bobby so bad. I want to pick Bobby Green so bad. But my thing is, once Bobby Green starts looking good, it's like they tend to be that. There's like a stereotype for fighters, right? They're great fighters that tend to lose, right? And I think Bobby's one of them. Like when they're doing so good, that's when they lose. And like when they're bad, they're like gonna win. Kind of like that Kevin Holland coming off a loss, he's gonna win. Coming off a win, he's gonna lose. Not saying it's that rinse and repeat with Bobby Green, King Green, but he's been in good form. It's kind of that same thing, right? Like beat Miller, lost to Turner. Beat Ferg and Dawson, lost to Dober Mahashev. Beat James Harquist, beat Alaquinta, lose to some other guys, And I think that happens here. I think it's going to be a ugly fight. Judge's decision. Bobby's going to be pissed. I'm picking Patty here. Oh, Patty the Body. And this is not a high confidence pick. This is kind of a situation pick. I think Patty at home going to do enough. He's going to probably take down Bobby a couple times, and I think that's going to be the difference. I think Bobby will win the striking exchanges. Patty, if he gets knocked down, it could be over, right? But Scousers don't get knocked out. They'll take damage. Hopefully he'll have better movement, but I also think you'll see him shoot more. I don't think you'll see him stand with Bobby because while I think he will be able to win some of the exchanges at times like Jalen Turner did, Bobby came in on short notice. Jalen's a nightmare matchup on there, and I think this one's more Patty wrestling dependent than others. One thing that I worry about with Patty is he does sustain some injuries in the octagon. He's come off a foot and I want to say a wrist or a hand in 2 of his last 3 fights. So he has been compromised in there. I think he gets the job done. I think he broke his foot last time against Ferg and then hurt his hand against one or the other. He's been compromised, and that worries me. But I think that's why we see him get a takedown early and manipulate the ground game, which I think he has a clear advantage over Bobby Green. 10 sub wins. We've seen him move in there, and I think the striking will be even enough over time to get to the point where Patty can handle Bobby. And if not, I don't think he gets the finish. I don't think this fight gets finished, but I think Patty wins by the judges' card. Split decision. Here's some screams. Here's some crying from close decision fighters, but I'm going Patty here. It's a very close fight, but I said Bobby's one of those guys to me. He's like, when you think he's up, he's gonna go down. When you think he's down, he's gonna go up. And I like Patty here. Let's just get it done. This one should be one of the. This is one that this is a fight fan's dream, man. You want to see both these guys walking down from the into the octagon, listening to the commentators, and you're going to be like, boy, oh boy, we're about to see a scrap, man. This is what the fight game's all about. These 2 cats going in there. Let's go, Patty, baby. Let's go, Patty. Next up, Tommy Aspinall versus Curtis Razor Blades. 14-3 interim champ versus Curtis Blades. 18-4. Looking to avenge his loss, the injury loss, 15 seconds into there. And man, I don't know how you guys feel about this fight. It's like one of those things. It's like, all right, is it what do you like? What's gonna happen, man? Because when I watched John Jones picking on the first 15 seconds of that Curtis Razor Blades Aspinall fight with the timing in there, I want to believe that. I want to believe Blades. I want to believe he was getting the advantage. But you could say that probably for Pavlovich a little bit early on too. He did connect with that 1-2 before Aspinall got in there. Also, does he even does my man just go bull rush him like he says? Does he just go rugby tackle Blades? I don't know if that's the best strategy against Blades, but I think that eventually leans into the game plan at some point for Aspinall. Now, will he be strong enough to outpower Curtis and sub him? Maybe not with technique, but maybe with position into submission, right? Ground and pound, get into an awkward position. But this fight scares me for Tom. It really does. Curtis he's well-rounded, man. He's got good athleticism for somebody so big. 6'4", 257. I swear he's one of the best athletes in the heavyweight division, not named Tom Aspinall. The way he defended Almeida with his strength and technique, and we probably think so negatively because he died against Lewis in the octagon. But my guy Curtis he's so clean with it, man. We sleep on him so bad. Right? He just loses to these heavy hitters, and he could lose to Aspinall here. Grin, I'm picking Aspinall. I'm picking Tommy. I just, this fight does not go that long, I don't think. None of Aspinall's fights have made the 3rd round, and I can't tell. Is this a 3x5? It's a 5x5 co-main event, and I don't think we need that much. We'll probably be maybe seeing the 2nd round, but I'm going to pick Tom because I think he's one of the most talented fighters in there. I think he'll avenge his only loss, and we'll be talking about what we're going to do at heavyweight next. We got Stipe, John, maybe Pereira, but, Volkov rematch at some point, coming back looking good. Man, this one should be... I want to pick Curtis so bad. I'm such a Curtis fan, but I don't want to be stuck on the Curtis train a day late and $1 short with Tom. Is it a flash in the pan coming off short note? He came in off of 2 weeks to beat Pavlovich. He straight starched Tybura, who looked pretty good in his fights afterwards. But man, I got my guy Tommy here. Tommy Aspinall. I think he's actually probably one of the most talented fighters in the and the fact that he's not higher on the pound for pound list, I think changes after this week. I think we see a spectacular performance from Tom, and moving on to the main event. As exciting as that's going to be, we might be as bored, the opposite of bored from the other side. 6 foot versus 5'11". I watched the first fight back. Dude, there's like a 3-inch advantage for Leon here. I don't know where these metrics come in, but we got Bully B versus Leon Edwards for the welterweight title of the world. Man, is Muhammad going to take it down? I don't know. He's a little bit older. The 35 and older curse from 125 to 171 being like 2-35. The only wins being Woodley in the welterweight division. Does Bully B pull the upset and get that done? I don't think so. I want to pick Bully B. I want him to win. I'm rooting for him, even though I'm a bigger fan of Leon. I'm actually rooting for Bully B for the upset, but I'm picking Leon here. I know I don't, and I'm just picking him because I think Leon, he's just going to look better to the judges, right? We all know this fight's going to the scorecard. We're going to get a 49-46. We're going to get a 48-47 Muhammad, and we're going to get a 48-47 Edwards. Split decision, title bout loss for Muhammad. Close win for Edwards, keeping the belt one more time. But that's sometimes, it's that close in highly contested fights. And I think Leon has the damage, and I want to see Bully B win, man. I really do. I want to see him. I want to see somebody go to sleep here, but I think we got 25 minutes of striking. Watching that fight against Leon versus watching Muhammad versus Burns the last time he stepped into the octagon are two completely different fighters. Muhammad loves to study his opponent, realize what he's going to do. You watch Muhammad Burns, he switches his stance every step. So I think he's a different fighter than when we saw that first round fight inside an Apex octagon. We could all be completely wrong here picking Edwards, but I'm picking Edwards. Bully B by decision is also, I think, a way we can go, but maybe he walks right through him. Who knows? This one should be spicy, but I'm not gonna keep it short and sweet because what do you want me to say in terms of these guys? We know what we're gonna get from them. We saw them fight. We're gonna see some stand up. We're still gonna see some exchanges. I think Bilal, you're gonna see a lot of jabs. And I think he's going to have to turn on the volume at some point. My thing is Leon's going to be a very good counterpuncher. Big, strong 1-2s. You know, Bilal's going to go in there with one. What I saw in the first fight, Leon comes back with 1-2, right? And Bilal is not going to sit there and exchange more. He's kind of conservative. He looked like he was conserving some energy, looking for the right time. Now, maybe in a 5-round fight, that was his first main event off of 2 weeks' notice. Like, I might pull the reversal card and pick Bully B, but I'm not going to do that because he's 36 years old. He has to prove to me that he's going to get it done, put the loss on my record. I'm picking Leon Edwards here all day. Leon's my guy. Now, like, I'm sounding so back and forth on this fight because I'm rooting for Bully B, but I'm rooting for him to buck the trends. But if I'm officially going to pick something where I'm going to mark my record, I'm picking Leon Edwards. That being said, moderate favorite versus slight underdog. Anything can happen in these fights. I got Edwards. Let's do a quick recap. In no particular order, we got Bukakis, Bannon, Patterson, Leroy Duncan, and Preston Parsons. Mick Parkin, Koal Longren, Molly McCann, Nate Wood, Arnold Allen, Mukayev, Patty Pemblint, Tommy Aspinall, and Leon Rocky Edwards. Like, comment, subscribe if you guys are watching the videos. It would greatly appreciate, seeing somebody join the community. Let me know some of your favorite fighters, some of your favorite fights for this weekend, what you think is going to happen. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks for tuning in and supporting me. Have a great day, and God bless. Peace.